Okay, we're recording. Okay, hey guys, welcome to the Slices Sabre podcast. Today I am joined by Magda. Now, I'm sure if you watch the YouTube channel enough, you will have seen plenty of Magda's fencing. But for anyone who doesn't know you, do you want to introduce yourself, Magda?
Yeah, I'm Magda. I'm 18 years old. I fence for the US and I've been doing fencing for around almost 13 years now. So
And
yeah.
you've just come back from the Olympics. Well, not just, but I guess it still feels like just now.
Yeah, definitely. It was a quick turnaround Olympics straight to college, but it was a really
And
fun time.
can you tell us a bit about the experience, the whole thing from the very start? What was the atmosphere, all the press, all the emotion.
Yeah. I mean, I was warned beforehand, like, yeah, this is gonna be really chaotic. It's gonna be crazy. It's gonna be like the best time of your life, but there's also gonna be so much going on that you just have to like remember to stay focused. And I enjoyed definitely all the moments I could. I didn't try to like when I needed to focus, I started focusing in, try to do that. Individual didn't go how I wanted just because like I stepped on the strip and it felt like 2 seconds it was over. I just couldn't control like what I was doing in my bout. But then team, I was like, okay, I'm just gonna enjoy fencing at the Grand Palais, which was like one of the best Olympic venues this year for
No, it was
fencing. It was
amazing. Yeah,
amazing.
yeah.
It
Oh yeah.
was amazing.
And
Yeah.
how long were you at the village before your first event?
I think I got there I think I got there the 23rd. So I was there like a week
A week.
before.
Okay, so
Hmm.
that's plenty of time to see everything, to feel the village, and
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
I guess it must be hard because on the one hand you want to enjoy every moment, but
Hmm.
equally you have to focus on your event
Yeah.
also. I imagine that must be a hard balance to get now.
Yeah. So you're just like, what, like, do I go do this experience and see this thing or do I focus in? So mostly I tried to focus before my event. Um, and then after is when I just like, enjoyed the village, tried to do all the experiences, like watch different sports and stuff.
And do you have a particular routine like preparation for competitions or like was this affected? Was it different for the Olympics, do you think? Or
I think I tried to get off my phone before, like, I don't know about a week. I can't say week, but like a couple days before, I just tried to minimalize my screen time just because I was like, I want to try and stay focused on this because I heard one of the photographers a couple months before that had told me, like, hey, like people like Shalagi and like really big athletes, they just don't look at their phone at all, like the day before the tournament. So I was like, okay, I'm gonna try and do that. Try not look at it too much at the tournament. And I think that's also gonna be something I try to implement these coming seasons. And yeah, and then rather than that, I was trying to read a lot, just relax. But then when I got to the venue, I wasn't trying to over stress. Of course,
Mhm.
like I ended up stressing during individual, but during teams, it's like as long as I'm like, listening to good music, just relax, not too tense, it went well.
It's funny because you mentioned Silagi there, and this is a 1 year where he actually seemed to be active on his Instagram during
Yeah,
the Olympics, and that's the 1 year where he loses, and it might have something to do with that, maybe. I don't know. Uh,
maybe. I don't know.
Were you there? Were you there with your coach, with your dad? How was it different? In terms of because your dad is your coach, right?
Hmm. Yeah.
And were you there with because maybe is it different for the Olympics? Were you?
Not, I think for team events, it's different because you can only have two coaches in the
Mhm.
box. But for individual, I was allowed to have him in the box. So that was good during between like the team events. Like we fenced three bouts. I would like just call him and be like, hey, what can I work on? What should I do against these people? But rather than that, I had him with me almost the whole time. So it was really nice.
It must be nice for him also because he has an interesting Olympic story also, no?
Yeah. Yeah, I definitely like I always try like when I had interviews before, I'd always be like, "Oh yeah, my dad technically qualified for
The bout is for
Atlanta
15.
1996, but he didn't have a
Somebody
citizenship."
wins it.
So, His friend ended up going instead, and then he became a coach under Ed Corfanti for a little, and then ended up leading our club now. He's a head coach. It's
So
really
it's
cool.
nice. He's finally he's got his Olympics
Yeah,
in a
I
different
think
way,
it's
but
definitely
yeah, yeah.
fulfilling it through a different way because we worked towards this since I was like 12. So
And
yeah.
so in the individual event, you had a fairly hard first match, considering well they're all hard matches, but you fenced
Hmm.
the Turk Erbil, no?
Yeah, and Irva had been doing really well this season.
Hmm.
I think she in Tunisia, she either got second or first. I think second. So, and then I also lost I was like top 16, top 10,
Hmm.
10 to 13 in the world um, for the most of the year. But at Pan American Championships, where I gained my points originally, um, I had an injury. So I was like, oh my gosh, like I couldn't fence. I had to pull out. I was so confused. And I was like, what if this like affects Olympics or whatever? I ended up figuring it out. I figured out also at college. Um, but yeah, definitely like just that Pan Americans and her doing, strong in the last tournaments. It's like, and then I was like overthinking, thinking the next bout. So, there's so many factors that go in the hand. It's like, so much everything on at Olympics is mental. Nothing is tactical. You're just fighting there. No one's I don't know, you watch the men's event, no one is fencing how they do. It's actually very fascinating to me.
No, especially this year with the atmosphere in the venue, it was just crazy. The noise, the like it's a funny contrast. You go from Tokyo
Yeah.
where there was absolutely no one, and then Paris
Hmm.
where it was just insane at times.
Well, you're on that strip and it's like, it's curving down and all the noise goes down to those four strips. You can't hear anything. I can't
Hmm.
hear my coach. I would only hear him talk during the 1 minute break. Um, but it was just like there's so much noise. This was like the most exciting crowd I'd ever seen. It just like, makes you excited that France brought so much um attention to fencing because
Hmm.
of how excited that crowd was. Like I was happy for like the French fencers because they got such an amazing crowd. It was one of the coolest things I've seen.
But I think even for the non-French events, there was still a lot of noise. You know, I was there just
Yeah,
for the men's team finals. And after the bronze medal match, you know, France won the bronze and went crazy. And I thought, okay, now
yeah.
it's gonna be dead because everyone's gonna go. But no, the match for the final with Korea and Hungary was equally loud also. So it was really nice experience.
Yeah. Oh, they get so excited. It's really nice to see people who care about the sport, and it was amazing to have it in such a like beautiful venue. So
Hmm.
overall, it was just like a memorable experience. You're just like, wow, people care so much about it, and they got so into it. And even when we were fencing against, I don't know, just like our bouts after we fenced Korea in teams, it was just like some of the Americans would hype up the French people when we were fencing because the French weren't fencing, and
Hmm.
then they'd get some of them on their side, so we'd have a crowd. So it was just, it was fun, and then it was fun to just interact. I think after my last two bouts, I started not interacting more with the crowd, but just like, screaming and having fun. Because it's just like, I never felt so stress free just those last two bouts. So it was fun.
Yeah, so that's you're on about the team event there. So the individual didn't go quite so well for you, but in the team event you had a very strong performance. I just looked at the stats this morning and the person who had the best indicator overall, unsurprisingly, was Olga Karlan with
Yeah,
plus 31 across the whole day, which is just
crazy.
insane. But you were second behind her with plus 18. So maybe no medal, but
Yeah.
at least you had a silver medal performance.
Yeah, that was nice. It was nice to know, like, because I think the first day individual, I was like underwhelmed. I was like, did I really just spend 4 years of my life to fence 5 minutes on the Olympic stage? I was like, so on teams, I was like, I can't let this go to waste. I can't be so stressed that I'm not having fun. I think maybe it was because this tournament didn't count for anything, or like, But I just went and enjoyed myself, and I like fighting for other people. It doesn't have to, for me, it's like, it doesn't have to be pretty. My fencing's never been like Brunei where she just fenced so gorgeously, but it's always been like, I'm gonna fight. Like I'm gonna fight to the end. And so I just did that, and I had a lot of fun.
It must be quite particular because you lost your in the team, you lost your first match, right, in the last day. Was it to Korea in the
Yes. Yeah, yeah,
yeah.
yeah. I think I got so overwhelmed. I was like, oh my gosh, like I was
Hmm.
freaking out.
But then that must be such a it's a weird thing to have to keep fencing, at the Olympics where it's all about the medal,
hmm
and then
hmm
suddenly there's no chance of winning a medal, but you still have to fence. That must be really weird now.
It is, and it's like I feel like it was a lot for the because our team was so new. We had to do that a lot of the year
Hmm.
because at first I was like, "Oh my gosh, like I really want a medal and stuff." But like you see these teams and they've been fencing for years. They've been here so long, and even all of our American teams had like an Olympian, like at least one, like men's saber, like Eli. They had to help lead and stuff, and we were all new and fresh. And even this season or this upcoming 4 years, we're going to be new. So for what type of team we had, it's like I'm proud with how we did, and you know, it's hopefully we're gonna keep getting stronger, and we'll see how we do in the next 4 years. But yeah, after it's like it's like okay, we're like, come on, like we're here, let's fight to the end, get the fifth place, so we did that and we beat the number two seed. And they put me in there like I hadn't anchored. I was always like, I don't want to anchor. Like, this is too stressful. I'm going to mess it up. And like, okay, Magda against Hungary, you're going to anchor. I was like, okay. And I ended up winning my last bout like 5-2. And just like, I had my celebration. So I think that was my favorite moment of the whole Olympics was just being able to like, celebrate one of the moments, even if it wasn't for a medal. It's just like knowing, like, hey, like I did everything, I fought, and we can end on a victory. So, yeah.
And it's not even like, at a World Cup, if you're fencing in the, for the fifth place, at least
hmm
it's important for the ranking, for the qualification,
Yeah,
etc. But,
there wasn't
this
even
is
that.
there's not even that really, it's not going to count towards the next qualification. So
Yeah,
it must be very strange. And also,
yeah.
team fencing isn't really a big thing in the USA, right? I don't get the impression you have um big, team events between clubs or it seems very
Like we'll have them at national tournaments, but they're not as like, they're like, oh, you can join your team if you want, but like oftentimes you'll see the teams are like named like funny names. It's just someone like a tournament people go to have fun. It doesn't count towards any qualification. And yeah, I think it's just like everyone's so spread apart in the US. There's
Mhm.
clubs all over, so it's tougher.
Do you think that has an impact on when you actually selected to fence on a team at World Cups or at the Olympics or?
Maybe, like we don't get to train like other teams do. Like they're all together at their national training center. But in the US, like the system's so different because everyone's up from all over. Our training center for like Olympic training centers in Colorado Springs, where there's not really any clubs there. Um, and then also people go to college here,
Hmm.
and that's like a huge factor because like you'll see we have really strong cadets and juniors, and then, we start doing college fencing, NCAAs, and everyone's, starts focusing more on college and life. It's just because it's really hard to make a sustainable living in the US with fencing.
Hmm. And speaking of college, that's where you are now. Now you're at Notre
Yeah.
Dame, right?
hmm
And tell us about that. That sounds like you must be pretty busy, no?
Yeah, the first, I went straight from Olympics closing ceremony. I went home for a week and then I went straight to college. And so everyone's like, oh, like you're gonna get, or like, you see those things like, oh, there's such thing as like the Olympic post blues, whatever, where
Hmm.
it's like, you've trained up for something for all your life, these 4 years, and then nothing, you're done. Like, what do you do with yourself? But I was like, okay, I'm going to college. This is gonna be great because I'm not gonna have to think about it. I'm just gonna have a new experience. But it's like you oh my gosh, I was like when I got there the first month, I was like I think I had a breakdown somewhere like a couple times. I was just like, this is so much because your brain is on rapid fire at Olympics. It's just like absorbing a million different things. And then you go to college and it's the same thing. It's a whole new experience. And you're just trying to figure out a bunch of different things. I'm like 4 hour flight away from home, even more, trying to get out of here. Um, but the fencing here has been amazing. It's super structured and it's like, it's really nice because last year I didn't really have a bunch of like a team to train with. There's like one or two other super strong people and some of like the juniors at our club, like mostly guys. Um, and so like here it's like you have people that have to show up to training, that have to go to conditioning and lift, and it's just very well structured. And I like that, because we're going to be doing college fencing, everyone's supporting each other because at the end of the day, it's one team, one heartbeat, I guess is our saying. So, it's really nice to have structure and just people that push you.
And you've got, it's three weapons, right? So it's
Hmm.
an even bigger family. It's even more
Yeah.
people supporting each other. Hey, sorry to interrupt. Don't worry, this isn't an ad read. Well, sort of, but I'm not plugging any dodgy supplements or VPNs or whatever. I just want to talk to you about the Slicer Sabre Patreon page. For just $3 a month, you can access a growing catalogue of exclusive Sabre content. I've got videos on there that you won't see on YouTube and exclusive bonus clips from the podcast too. You'll also get early access to YouTube videos and podcasts. All this stuff takes a lot of time and effort, and I'd really appreciate the support. So head on over to patreon.com/slicersaber to join. Also, Christmas is rapidly approaching, so if you're looking for some gifts to get for your fencing friends, check out the Slicer Saber store. There are t-shirts and water bottles featuring the demon mask design on it, which, by the way, was created by an Olympic foil fencer Chen Yitung of Taiwan. You can also get a notepad featuring art by another multi-talented Olympic fencer, Magda. If you head over to the Slicer Saber YouTube channel, you can see all that under the store section. Anyway, sorry to interrupt. Let's get back to the podcast. And
So.
how are you finding? So you're working with new coaches?
I'm working with Christian Rasconi. He's from Italy. So we've been working together. He's super motivated. And like, of course it's like the change from my dad's style to his style. At first, like it's a surprise, like, oh, how do I do this? Because I've been working with my dad so long. But I always like, okay, I'll adjust, like we'll figure it out. And he's been super supportive. Like I had an injury, I thought was a partially torn labrum, but like half the fencers had it. So I'm like, okay, that's not affecting me. So it turns out it was like a nerve that was being pinched in my leg, and I just have to keep it loose. And this has been affecting me for so long. I don't know, I got sidetracked. But yeah, so I had that injury, and I was trying to figure out, like, oh my gosh, like, so he let me go easy the first month into like, hey, get slowly back into training, like, our priorities, your mental health. And then the last 3, 4 weeks, I've been like, okay, I want to, start training. I want to start doing big things. Like I want to figure it out. I want to get mentally super strong physically. And then I just want to be able to go and fight. And there's not as much stress as Olympic year. So we've been working really well together. So I'm excited. My dad's also going to come to a couple of tournaments, hopefully world championships. So we'll still be able to work together there. So, and they collab very easily. They're good
Mhm.
friends. So I don't worry too much about that.
How do you find working with a coach when you have such an authentic, expressive way of fencing? Like, you fence how you seem to fence how you want to fence.
Hmm.
How do you balance that with working with a coach? How much do you take on board? How much do you decide, okay, no, this is what works better for me? It sounds quite hard.
So we talked in the beginning. I was like, hey, like, I have a very specific style and I don't think it's going to change. I don't really want it to change. I just want to clean it up because there was a lot of instances where it's like it can be too messy. And it's like I want to maintain the how original it is, but clean it up. So we're like, okay, yeah. So we've been working on that. I've been trying different things, but also keeping my, like bounciness, energy, explosiveness, and we were both sort of think the same, whereas like you have to put energy into what you're doing and just like explosiveness. So I think that's meshing really well, whereas he's helping me clean up a lot of my fencing
Hmm.
and while still maintaining how it is.
It must be, yeah, hard to clean up something chaotic, but maintain that energy and
Yeah,
yeah.
we're trying.
And I wanted to ask you because I mean, you're still what? How old are you now?
Almost 19, but in
Almost
like the next
19.
month. Yeah.
So it's crazy because you've had success from such a young age. You're still so young. You've already been to an Olympics. Um, so you've got a whole career ahead of you, and you've already achieved quite
Yeah.
a lot. But what do you think are the negatives of his early success? Do you feel like I don't know, maybe there's a risk of burning too early, or I don't know. What do you think?
Hmm. Yeah, so I feel like this is something that was under talked about and I didn't really think about till last year. It's like I was used to so much success. Like I was became four-time world champion, which is within the span of like 3 years. I was like, so I wasn't stressing as much then. I also wasn't like overthinking it as much. And then I think the switch to seniors was when it really started getting to me because I was so used to succeeding or getting medals or podium. Last year, I didn't get like anything special or crazy. I still think, like thinking back now, I'm like, being top 10, I think it was either 10 or 13 or switching in the world at my age, was really big for me. But then I also felt like I had to perform to that, which, I wasn't. Like I've been fencing 2 seasons. I wasn't like at that level specifically, but I was like, okay, but I have to perform like this, and I would freak out. And then I think I also have a perfectionist mindset where it's like, oh my gosh, like I have to do everything perfectly, and like the sense of like I want to win everything, I want to do and this. But it's a big transition. I just wasn't used to like failing. So I think a big theme was like learning to fail last year. Like, you look at it, it's like from the outside, it's not like, oh, she didn't have any big failures. Like, it wasn't too bad. But like my mindset where I was going from like getting cadet and junior medals to not. I think I lost in a 32 at a junior World Cup last year because I was going from three different tournaments and Olympics and stress. I was like, oh my gosh, like I can't do this anymore. I'm failing. Like I don't know what to do. So people, that's definitely the perfectionist mindset and just figuring out how to have a growth mindset instead of a fixed mindset. So that was definitely something like I didn't realize that so like the end and like, towards the end, like I qualified, but I was just like, maybe this isn't for me. Maybe it's just like, I'm not made the fence. I just got lucky. But, that's not how it is. It's like you have to fail to succeed. And if last year, like there were some like struggles and stuff was like, going to be some of my struggles, if there still is, then that's fine. I think I was just very uh, result oriented and wasn't enjoying the journey. So now I'm definitely like, hey, I'm going to enjoy every day I do and, just try to have more fun now.
I guess you kind of started peaking at a tricky part in the Olympic cycle where you just started,
Hmm.
getting results when it mattered, when Olympic qualification was happening. So you didn't get the chance that you have. Now it's a post-Olympic season, and that's when nothing. Well, it doesn't. It's not. It doesn't matter. But there's no
No, it's not as
Olympic
big.
qualification riding on it. So maybe now it's a good time for you to just you know find that mental space in your fencing. Don't worry so much about
Yeah.
performance and
Yeah. And I feel like I'm always like, oh, I want to perform to this extent, but that's definitely going to be a big thing for me where I'm just going to try and like, even if I don't get the best result, just enjoy what I'm doing more because that's why I do this sport.
Mhm.
That's why I spend so many hours. And I think the month before this, I was like, what if I just take this whole year easy? I don't have to go to as many tournaments, whatever, but it's like I'm at the point in time where it's time to, focus on these and go as big as I can because, one day it's like I'm gonna have life, I'm gonna get a job or family, all that starts and it's like there's gonna be so much, but now's the time where I can focus on myself and just see how much self growth I can go through in the next 4 or 6 who knows how many years.
And for the short term, how are you balancing competing? You've got your college fencing and then national fencing, then international fencing.
Hmm.
How are you balancing this? Does one have a priority for now?
Right now, I have I didn't go to the first national tournament because I was figuring out my injury, and then Algeria was just too far, and like
Hmm.
in a they put it in such a weird place. It's not safe either. I was like surprised, but it's okay. So that's just too hard to get to from where I am at. And then I was originally not going to go to the junior tournament in Tunisia, but I'm like, hey, that's a good time. I'm not missing any school because it's an American holiday. I'm like, okay, I'm going to go to that, then Orleans. And I had already eased into first semester of college. And then it's going to start ramping up. We'll see how it goes, but I'm going to go to all the meets that are required. And I think I only missed one senior. So you know, we'll see. I think the balance is going to be okay. And I'm just so used to having so many things going on. Like I had a cadet, junior, and seniors going on at some point. So you just get so used to it and figuring out how to balance that. I don't think about it too much, just like which one I want to prioritize. Definitely senior. I want to figure out college fencing I want to do well in. And then junior, I just want to go to hopefully one junior event and qualify, but we'll see. Hopefully the senior points roll down.
It's mad to me that you're still a junior. I like you won the juniors as a cadet, right? Or
Yeah, in Dubai,
and
I
that
won.
feels like ages ago. It feels like you completed juniors ages
Yeah,
ago, but no, you
I
still
know.
you still have to go back and yeah. No, that's
I know
mad.
all the older fencers will tell me they're like, "You're still a junior, like how?" I'm like, "I know."
Do you
And
think that
seriously,
puts
they're just like
a
tired.
it puts a bit of a target on your back at junior competitions? Do you feel a bit more
Oh,
pressure?
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's definitely going to be the most pressure there because it's like you've done all these great things. You're expected to win. And it's like that
Yeah.
happened last year when I was in Madrid. I did horribly. I did so bad. I was like, oh my gosh, like all these. I was like crying. I was like, no, I can't like cry because all these people are going to be like, haha, like a lot of people are going to want you to like fail once you get somewhere big, but it's like I think realizing like it's fine. Like it doesn't matter what they think because I've gotten to where I'm at. But I there's gonna be maybe probably a target there, but it just go life will go how it goes and it's okay. Like however what results I get in that or not, it's like we'll see. It's just very different from seniors too, and I've been very used to seniors. So sometimes the transition down to fence one of those, it's like a culture shock almost. You're like, whoa.
Do you feel like the juniors fence particularly differently to the seniors?
Yeah, it's definitely, I feel like it's slower almost. I'm not a very slow fencer.
Hmm.
So I'm just like, and it's definitely going to be a lot more, I feel like strategy almost. It's like, not strategy, that's not the right word, but like seniors, it's like half mental, who's going to be mentally stronger. And then juniors, it's like, I feel like it's going down. It's like, you do all these complicated things, but you need to overcomplicate it too much. But I'll overthink it. I'll be like, I have to do this, and this, and like analyze. It's like, I don't know. It's just a weird transition back and forth.
Hmm. And it's people you are less likely to have seen. You can have a junior who turns up who no one's ever seen, and then it turns out they're an amazing fencer.
Yeah.
And
Well,
yeah.
there was a girl last year at Worlds from China.
Hmm.
Like, I'd never seen or heard of her. Of course, I hadn't gone to like many of the juniors, but I fenced her in pools and I was like, wow, she's like, pretty strong. She was fast, and then she ended up winning the whole thing. I was like, good for her. Like, it's cool to see like compete. She's like 14, I think, too.
Yeah,
I don't know.
she's 15 now. She won another
15.
Junior
Yeah.
World Cup this weekend in
I
Korea.
saw that. Yeah,
So
yeah. So,
yeah, I was gonna ask you about which fencers you think are gonna do well over the next cycle, which any particular teams, countries, or individual fencers, and yeah, Pan Chi
mm,
Miao, the Chinese, she was definitely the one I could
she's
think of.
definitely she's just like very grounded with her fencing, very like strong. Trying to think what else. There's against this Japanese girl at Junior Worlds in Bulgaria. I think that was her last junior. So she's been out for a year or two, but she's like really strong. I fenced her in team. She's beat me a couple times, but she's super strong. But yeah, there's definitely so many girls that are coming up. Like it's early in the morning here, or not too early, but like I'm
It's
like
okay.
a little foggy. But like yeah, definitely there's a lot of like I'm excited to see how they start coming into the seniors and doing because sometimes they'll pull like a good result out like in a senior. It's just like nice to see like the younger generation starting to come in.
Yeah, I have a feeling that the Uzbeks have a good chance to
Yeah,
get some results in team. Dayabikova,
yeah,
I really like her fencing, and I think she's due a big result. And they
yeah,
have plenty of young
definitely.
fencers too, so that was one I was thinking of.
Yeah,
But
definitely Uzbekistan. Yeah.
I wanted to ask you about the college fencing because can you just explain how college fencing works in the USA for anyone who's not yet
Yeah,
in
so
college fencing?
I'm still figuring it out because I haven't gotten to meet yet. My first week's in a couple weeks, but it's very 5 point based. So it's like you go to these meets and fence these different colleges. Like it'll be like Notre Dame against Harvard or Princeton, and you fence like four, I don't know how many colleges come, and then they fence like a round robin five touch, but it's just like you're fencing like 20 I think like around 20 of these bouts a day during the weekend. So there's that, and it's like these points build up so you can qualify for regionals, NCAA regionals, and then you have the NCAA like final sort of tournament in March. So it's like a slow build up to qualify for that. And it's just like a lot of five touch points.
Hmm. So how many fences do you have per team per weapon?
Um, so Notre Dame is really big. We have like 70 people overall, maybe 20 people Sabre for
But for
men's
like
and
a
women's.
a
A
traveling
meet.
team, yeah.
Yeah. And so then so this first meet, we're sending 6 people. And then when it gets to like, it can maybe be more, I'm not sure how many. But when it gets to like regionals or the NCAAs, it'll be, I think, either two or three, and then only two per weapon and gender at the finals if they qualify. From my knowledge, of course, I'm not
Yeah, yeah, no,
know much about it yet.
it's your. It would be good practice for pools, I'm guessing, with five touch
Yeah,
matches and
yeah, definitely. It's just like a lot of like I think it's gonna be great at the end of the day because you're gonna be so tired. Like 25 touches is a lot, and just like back to back. So we'll see.
yeah. And when you've not had your first meet yet, it's not happened yet.
We're going to Pennsylvania, UPenn, in a couple of weeks. It's like the week after Algeria.
Okay, nice. Okay, that's pretty much all I had planned. I don't want to keep you too long, but that was a really good answers, really good talk there. So I'm happy with that.
Yeah.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Okay. Well, thank you.
Right,
Have a
thank you
good
very
day.
much. Cheers. Have a good day. See ya.